ጤና ይስጥልኝ እንደምንሰነበታችሁ ማን ያህልሻለኝ በድጋሚ ተገናኝተናል ዛሬ ባለፈው ሳምንት ከቆምንበት እንቀጥላለን ሜሮን ቫሪያብል ልታሳየን ምክንያቱም ጋለሪ ላይ ብዙ ዴታዎች ቢኖሩን ሁሉንም ዴታዎች ባንዴ ጋለሪው ለማሳየት ላንችል እንችላለን ስለዚህ የተቀሩትን ዴታዎች ማየት በፈልግ ከዚህ ከታዩት ውስጥ ተነስቶ ወደ የሚቀጥለው ሁሉንም ዴታዎችን ወይም ሁሉንም ፊልድስ ማየት ወደሚችልበት እንዴት ሊሄድ ይችላል አንድ ዩዘር በመለው ያንን በቫሪያብል እንዴት ሌሎችን ዴታዎች ማግኘት እንደሚችል ታሳየን እየጀመረች ነበር ያቆምነው የሚቀጥለውን ፓርት 2 ዛሬ ትቀጥልልናለች ማለት ነው በድጋሚ ስለተገናኘን ደስ ብሎኛል መድረኩን ለሜሮን እንደገና ለቃለው ማለት ነው
capture this data right so ይሄንን item capture argan click ስናደርግ that item we want it to open on the form right on the edit
formula
exactly so just a basic overview so within Power Apps we have what global variable they call it contextual variable which is like a local and then there's a collection so ራሱ ሌላ ራሱ topic መያዝ ያለበት ነገር ነው yeah good generally speaking global ሲባል you can create a variable እዚህ ላይም ሆነ አንድ ቦታ ላይ once you create the variable you should be able to reference that variable anywhere within your app አስር ጊዜ you don't have to keep creating a new variable that's global contextual ከሆነ ደግሞ ምንድነው local ከሆነ ደግሞ እዚህ ላይ once you create it በቃ it's limited to one screen and one screen only and collection ደግሞ it talks about a table collecting the data in the table format so in this case we're going to be using the global variable you have to set a global variable to be able to use it anywhere within your app so it's just global so we want to set a variable right set it to rasu yeah you can name your variable whatever you want to name it good always to know it's good to have a good understanding of like what you want to name it I can name it Meron if I'm going to remember buhala then just try to use a name that's related to what you want it to happen right I wanted to set a variable on the current item. So to identify this is a variable, I'm going to use var, you know, var, I'm going to say current item. Name so that's going to be the name of my variable. What do I want to set a variable on this item? And this is the item line. I wanted to capture these data. So I'm going to say this item. So I set my global variable. So if I go here and I select it, nothing happens. So we want to capture the data, this data, and we want to transition to the next screen to view this, everything that's on this list item, right? Yeah. So we have to navigate, right? So you want to navigate to where? You want to navigate to as you can understand, it should be to the form, right? The screen. So when navigate to the screen screen form hono, we want the edit form, right? Edit form. So we want the edit form. What's the name of the form? Remember, that's where naming comes into play. Yeah. The name of the form is form. I put form underscore queen. It should give me the form, right? But I'm doing this on purpose just to see what problems we're going to run into, right? So if I play it, if I click on that, you know, obviously we're doing testing. I already tested once. I'm just going to say run on start. Okay, I'm going to do that. That was in my test right now, but we're just going to play. If I go to next, no item to display. Let's go back. Did I say run on start? All right. So obviously we're not seeing anything. I say, you know what? I think it makes sense now. So we set a variable, right? We just set a variable because we want to capture this data. When we click on that, we want to display everything that's listed on this item. So remember, we're using a global variable. Global variable meaning you can reference it anywhere within your app. So on this edit form, all right, we have to make sure we reference this variable that we set var current item on the form item, because we want to next click scenatic. Remember, the variable capture on data is like display data go. Because it's a global variable, a zim screen line at the chain. If I try to recall the name of the variable, I'll get it, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna, I just like to make sure we're on start. So if I go back to the gallery, all right, we'll play it. If it works properly, when I click on next, it should display all the items that's displayed on the screen, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we got that. But notice, once I get here, technically, if I'm the reviewer, I'll go to this item. Okay, I review it. I want to go back. I want to be able to go back to the gallery to review another item.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we have a go back option, right? So within here, you can select the label because I want to add the icon here. There's, if you go to insert, actually it's home, right? Is it insert? Yeah,
no,
insert by headish. You have several options, whatever you want. I typically use this little back icon. Obviously, my background is dark, so while it's still selected, I'll make sure it's white. Okay? So on select, we wanted to go back to where we just came from, the gallery, right? So on select, this one is very simple. You just say back, right? And it should be good. So because we just came from there, if I click on that, it's back to the gallery. I want to see this information, right? If I go back, then we're back on the gallery. So that part is done, right? So we have our gallery, we have our items. We did make sure our current item is at the top, so that's the most recent item. We want it to be displayed at the very top, as soon adlan. So what else do we need to cover? Another request here, Lacho Mendino. Let's say accounting just requested, actually marketing. Marketing submitted this request for quality assurance training, right? That was like a month ago. Now HR wants the same training. They want to request a similar training. So what the learning experience team wanted was that instead of HR having to go through the whole form and submit it, they simply wanted to be able to come here and duplicate this item and then just change the department. If I leveled in the Zano, right? So
ሌሎች ዲፓርትመንቶች ተመሳሳይ የሆነ ትሬኒንግ ሪኩዌስት ሲኖራቸው አዲስ ፎርም ክሬት ከሚያደርጉ ቀድሞ የተሰራውን ፎርም ሰለክት ያደርጉና ዲፓርትመንቱን ብቻ እንዲቀይሩ ነው የተፈለገው ማለት ነው።
Exactly. They want to be able to duplicate this by clicking your button and then just go to next and just change the department and then save it. Then they can work off of that. And design it. Okay? So to click on something, we need some type of icon. Yeah. So I'm going to insert, and I did use this icon. It's a copy icon. So this is nothing right now. Of course, I'm just going to label because we want to know, the users need to know what that is, right? So I'm just going to name it, duplicate this item or something. Make a little thing. Of course, we want to move the center. Okay, we have our icon, we have our label, we play it, click on it, nothing happens, right? Because there's nothing done on it. And in order for something to happen when we click on this icon, we wanted to, on select, we want something to happen. Remember, anytime you want to capture some data, just like what we did here, we need to set a variable, right? We need to set a global variable. Always remember, set associates with global. You want to be able to create the variable so you are able to use it anywhere within the page, within your apps. So we'll set another variable for this, all right? So we're going to say I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. So we're gonna set, right? Because I want to duplicate the item, I'm just gonna say var record, or you could say, because I have to keep using it, I'm just gonna say, okay, duplicate record. It doesn't have to be this long. What do I want to duplicate? This item, right?
Yeah.
This item. All right. So, oh, it's not semicolon, it's comma. All right. We got our variable, so at least we know we're gonna capture whatever data that we want to duplicate. But now we have to patch it, right? Patching it also is another topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so also is another topic. So we'll just say we'll patch it. And then do you have a better explanation just to give a brief overview, or like ሌላ ጊዜ?
ሌላ ጊዜ ይሻላል ምክንያቱም
Okay.
ፓች በራሱ ትልቅ ኮንሰፕት
Exactly. So we want to patch it because we want to do like whatever item we're going to put here, we want to store it here and duplicate it, right?
Yeah.
So we want to patch what? We have to know where our data source is. That we, so learning request form, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime you're doing a new item, you want to, by default, all right, by default አድርገሽ እንደገና you have to reference your list. አይደለ?
Yeah.
Exactly. So we got that. Now, what do we want to patch? All the fields that are within our list, because in a matter of a click, ያንን list ያንን item እንዳለ duplicate ማድረግ ነው የሚፈልጉት አይደለ?
Yeah.
So users don't have to resubmit the same training request. So in this case, so it could be first item, we need to put them in the little bracket, okay? A little bracket ላይ ማድረግ አለብን. So first one, we have to literally list all the fields and associate them with the variable. So first one is submit a name. It doesn't matter. Honestly, order doesn't matter. I could even start with date or topic. I'm going to say trading topic, just so I can show you. Order doesn't matter. It's going to duplicate whatever is on the list, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So training topic, right? We want to store that in the variable. So var record, duplicate record, dot, no. Store again, duplicate ማድረግ የምንፈልገው ይሄንን ነው. So I have to say dot training topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you do the same thing for all the fields. So I have submit a name, right? Submit a name.
var duplicate record.
Exactly. Dot submit a name.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's why I only used a few fields, because I knew this was going to be a whole lot of work.
Yeah.
So we have a request date, right? We have request date. All right. var record. So pretty much you referencing, what you want to mention, like list the variable dot the list name እንደገና ማለት ነው.
Yeah.
Their request, and then we also have training. We have training topic or department, right? So we need department var record
Dot department.
Yeah. And ጊዜ you move too fast. It's okay. You could just, and then that department, right?
Mm-hmm.
Department, and then I think we have comment. So actually, I'll reference the በኋላ status ማለግን once we add that እንደገና እንመለስበታለን. Comment or comments, var record. So it needs to be all the fields, because we want to duplicate everything that's on the list.
Yeah.
So we're gonna close the little bracket and close the parenthesis. So right now, what we're saying, set a global variable on this icon on select. We wanted to store the items, this item, we wanted to store it in a variable and also patch it so we can duplicate all this item that's in this variable. So we can do a quick test. Hopefully it works. If I click on that, just duplicate it, right? Second item, because it's displaying the most recent item is at the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I go to next, now we wanted this for IT know. So let's see, we just duplicated it, save it. That's fine. We need to add a back button here too. So if we go back to the gallery, Let's minimize that. Remember, and now it's IT, right?
Yeah. ሶርቲንጉም ሰርቷል ከላይ ነው ያመጣልን ሁሉንም ዴታዎችን ፓች አርጎ ከሌላኛው ፊልድ ላይ ይዟል ምክንያቱም እዛ እንትኑ ላይ ስላረግን ፓች ማለት ባጭሩ ሌላ ቦታ ያለውን ዴታ አምጣና እዚህ ጋር አምጣልኝ ማለት ነው ሪፈረንስ ለማለት ነው በቃ so we got a lot of it out the way. So we've gotten pretty much, we have our gallery, we have our icon, we got all the information we want. One other thing that we talked about was there's a status field. Status field, request status. Request status, if you go to the list setting, it has 3 options, right? It's a choice field. By default, we have it set. By default, it should, as soon as they submit their request, by default, it should say request submitted because right here, it says this is the default value. And then once under review, they should be able to select under review. Once it's completed, they need to say review is completed. But obviously, we don't need that on the new form because there's no use for the users to have that field. Yeah.
But once the training team come here and they go to the next field, they should be able to view that status field.
Yeah.
So the question is, how do we do that? Obviously, whatever we want on the form needs to be added here, right? So select the form, go to edit field, go to add a field. I'm gonna, if I start typing status, yeah, just add it. Anytime you add a field after everything is completed, it's gonna be at the very bottom. You will see it. But notice, because I turn off, I'm going to select the form. Because I turn this off, I should be able to drag it and put it anywhere I want it on the form. And I really want this to be at the very top, okay? You just drag it all the way to the top. And obviously, I want to change the layout, so I'm going to stretch it out. I want this back to the same layout I had it. Actually, you know what? We can have these 3 on the same row. They're not that big, right?
Yeah.
So we'll just display it like this, but we don't want status to be this long, right? So we'll just, I'm honestly, why did I make it white? Okay, let me talk about that. Let me do the stretch out putting. And does it look, it's gonna bring submitter name back up here. And I want its status to have its own section, right?
Yeah, ያኛው ወደ ላይ እንደ ቦታ እንዳያገኝ ማለት ነው። ቦታ ሲያገኘው ወደ ላይ ራሳቸው የሚሸሹት.
Exactly. So I could do that. In the data card room stretch out again, and I can adjust it however I want it. Because ultimately, place it out again. Data card let me tell you. Here, let me tell you. You see? Remember, by default, it's request submitter, right? All right. So we have that. So if I go back to the gallery and I go to next, you'll see that. Not just if I don't do anything additional, I'm gonna say. Start. So I come to the form. If I go to play, new form, it's also on the new form, but I don't want it to be on new form, right? I only want it to be displayed on edit. So we have to adjust when we want this to be visible. So select the card, go to the properties, on visible. Right now it's true because that means it will show regardless of anything, right? So we only want it to show when, if, right? If the form name, what is our form name? FRM underscore form. Exactly. Only when our form is mode is equal to
edit
form mode. Yeah. We have to say is equal to form mode dot new lexicon. We want it to be false. If we say it's going to be false or new, it would only be true on. If not, if new mode like false, if not good, anywhere like a Kohona, we want it to be true, right? So it's no longer there because this is the new form. But if I was to go back to the gallery, remember, when we click on this, we go into the edit form. Because only new form like highlight goes to that now. If I go to click on here, the status will be there. which lets us know only the training team should be able to view this and change this, right? If they make the change, of course, you have to save it. And then, of course, while we're here, why not just add a little button so we don't have to keep exiting to make it a smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime you add again, whatever icon is your choice, you want to make sure it's not something only you understand. Universal understand I got to be on prefer it. So if you see something like this, you know it's going back. So I'm going to say it back. And then just close the parenthesis. So technically, wherever it came from should be back to that. So in this case, it's new form. And then from new form, it's going to go back to where it came from initially, which is the gallery, right?
Yeah.
So we have that part out. So got the gallery, we're able to duplicate the item. And then we also want the status field to be displayed on here. So whatever we did, I want to make sure the status field is actually the first one in line. So it's just a matter of adjusting. So I'm just going to around a little bit. One now, concept to token. For some reason, I'm very picky when it comes to just like leaving it as it is. So we'll just, so again, what we did earlier, just copy paste, right? Control copy, Control V. We want this to be this item, that status, right? Remember, status is a choice field. That means we want to show
value.
Exactly. Even it will give you an error too. It's an error dot value. Whatever the value is, we want it to display. I don't know what that is, but just by looking at that, so I want to make sure it stays a status, right?
Yeah.
So Control copy, Control V, same thing. Just say, I'm going to say request status. So we accomplished quite a few things. Just
no,
here.
You accomplished a lot of things. Yeah,
so we have this. So one of the things I wanted to cover was that they want to make sure like the button, like the status kind of stands out, you know? So they wanted to be like, for example, when it's initially submitted to be yellow, when it's under review, let's say they want it to be purple, or when it's completed, they want it to be green, right? So just select that. Either if you just want the text color, just select it. You can just select on color and add your value, okay? You can just select on color. But I like to fill the whole background, okay? So I usually like to use fill. So now, fill the Ziga is just showing just a white background, right? But you need to add how you want the review status to appear. So if, okay, so we're going to use the if condition, right? If this item dot request status, because this is the request status field that we want to change the field color to value, like because it's a value, it's a choice field. That value, right, is equal to, what do we have here? Remember what we said?
By default ከሆነ form submitted ነው የሚሆነው.
Yeah, but you like እዚህ ጋር default ምናምን አይልሽም. They want to just say like request submitted ከሆነ what color do you want it? So if is equal to request submitted, because the spelling has to be really exact, so I like to copy paste, right? Control V. If it's request submitted to be what color? We want it to be, let's just say yellow, right? And then again, you have to repeat the same thing. This item dot request status. Yep, that value, right? Value. Demo. What's our other option? It's review, under review.
Yeah.
You pick a color, whatever color you want it to be. That value equal. Remember, when any text you want, you have to put them in double quotation, right?
Yeah.
Control V. I don't want to make with the spelling error because it's not going to render and does not have to show. So let's see. Under review, let's say we want it to be purple. And then we have one more. You can always like drag this and make it bigger. The last one is this item. status,
that
yeah.
value.
Yep. That
It's
value.
equal to.
What is it again? Because you don't want to make any mistake. It's better. And then when you type fast, because you don't want to waste time on something simple like that. So I just try to avoid silly mistakes. So I just,
Copy and paste.
exactly. We want it to be green. Yeah, we're done. Lemon didn't know. So if you notice, so if it's under review, it's purple. If it's request submitted, it's yellow. And then if it was because we finished reviewing this, it's completed. We're gonna save it. We're gonna go back. Now it's green, right?
Yes. Wow.
One thing I made a mistake on. Remember, I did a whole lot without saving, right?
Without saving, yeah.
That's a big no-no. Okay, you want to make sure you don't do that. So now, remember, we have a gallery. We also have a new form. Now, how do we want them to navigate to all these different things? We need to have another screen, which is a welcome screen, right? On the welcome screen, we can create two buttons, one to direct users to the gallery, and the one to direct users to the new form, right? So, which means another screen, right?
Yeah.
We'll add another screen. Again, we'll just add a label just to keep it a little cool and consistent.
Yeah, and the rename our screen welcome.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. Not just rename. Whatever we want to be the first screen should be aligned at first, right? So we need to move this to the very, very top, right? Because we want this to be the very first thing that users navigate to. So move it to the very top. Move up. All right, so we're good. So we have, again, don't mind this. It just really bothers me. I'm not sure why. So I'm just gonna, keep it consistent. By the way, you don't have to use, you have all kinds of options. Because my company has specific color theme, I have to use their specific color. That's the reason I use that. But you have other options. And we want the text to be white, so I'm going to text white, and then we want it to be centered. And then we want the text to say what? Welcome. You can actually, because my environment is not, where's the text? Because my environment is not configured as it should be, typically on company, there is a way to display, we'll say, welcome, Meron Yilma. Whoever's the logger, there's a way to display their name. Yeah. So that's why I usually have it, because I tested it before I joined, and because it's not configured, it's not pulling my information. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So now we need one button for the gallery, one button for the new form. So what I do is I'll just insert one, get it how I want it. So it's just a matter of copy and paste. ሁለቱም ላይ እንደገና ላለመስራት ማለት ነው. I'm just going to add one button. All right. And we're just going to call this new training request form. So we have a new training request form button here. Just because I want to keep it consistent, just change the color real quick. All right, we'll just make this bold. All right. Okay, we have a button. So what happens? When they click on this button, what do we want it to do, right? What do we want to happen? Yeah, which means we have to be on the onSelect property, because I changed. So let me just say something real quick. When you add a button, by default, it's going to bring you to the onSelect, because it just changes the whole. So you want to go back to the onSelect property. So I'll just delete this. So select your button, find your onSelect, select ሲደረግ የት ይሄዳል, right? onSelect, we want it to go to the new form, because that I'm going to say new form. What's my form name? Remember, form, new form, right? Want the new form to open up. Where's the new form? The new form is on the screen, right? So we want to navigate to that screen. Screen, new form. Okay. I'm just gonna make sure we're good here. So technically, if I want to test it, it should take us to the new form, right? So we'll go back. Now that I got this exactly how I want it, I'm gonna copy, paste. I'm gonna change the label. To change the label, it's the text property. So I'm gonna go to the text property. Property
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. So I'm gonna say new training request instead of form. I'm gonna change it to gallery. Okay. So we have our new form. We have a gallery. If I click on that, because I copied and pasted, guess what? It's gonna go to the new form. That's not where we want it to go. Exactly. So on select, here I select direct. Remember the on select property. On select, we don't want it to go to the new form. We just want it to go to the
gallery.
Exactly. So actually here, right? SCR gallery should take us to the gallery, right? So now that we have a welcome screen, we have a button that takes us to the gallery. What if I want to go back to the welcome screen? We need another back button, right? Actually, remember, copy paste. So just okay, just go to the next one. Go to the design view. I'm just gonna copy this, control copy, play it, go back, exit. While this is still selected, I'm just gonna say control V, and we're good to go.
Yes.
All right, and then we are able to navigate. If I go to the new screen, I should go back. I'll go to the gallery, I should go back. So one other thing I really wanted to add was that, let's say they wanted to duplicate this item, okay? If they duplicate it, obviously the first item will be QA training, right? What if they did that by mistake? We don't want them to actually go to the data source we don't want them to come here and delete that. Remember, everything we duplicate, you see, all these things that we've been duplicating is displaying here.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure if this was duplicated by mistake, we should be able to delete it here, right? So again, whatever icon you want, but I usually like to use the little trash can, all right? Because it is universal. You could either use the X is universal, right? I'll just use the little trash can because I have a dark background. I want to change the color to white, all right? So here I can select direct. What do we want to happen? We want to remove that selected item.
Yeah, delete and
exactly. So for that, we have to unselect, right? So unselect. Unselect. We want to remove, right? Zika, you know what? I can't just reference the gallery because yes, your gallery selected item no muna yallabat adala. So I believe I have to use the variable. Let me make sure I have my little note on the side. So let me look at that real quick. So I can make sure I'm doing it right. Hold on the gallery. Okay, yeah. So we have to reference the list, right? We want to remove from this list, right? That's the list item that we want to remove, right? From where? Now we have a gallery. We haven't named, we have not named the gallery. So it just says gallery 1. Now, if that was a different name, then we use a different name because remember, that's the gallery. So I'll go back to that. I'll go back to the form the gallery. So I'm going to reference the gallery 1, right? Gallery like select ያደረግነውን item ነው delete ማድረግ የምንፈልገው. In this case, this is the selected item, right?
Yeah.
So that selected, right? That selected value, no, delete ማድረግ የምንፈልገው. Once we delete it, we don't want to just stay on the screen, so we want to go back, right? Exactly, by default. So if let's say this was by mistake and I want to delete it, it should delete it, it should take me back to the gallery, right?
Yeah.
So in short, this is pretty much covers, what I did for the training requesting. ትንሽ minimize አድርጌዋለሁ, ግን overall concept ግን ይሄ ነው, to be able to duplicate an item, if you make a mistake, to be able to delete it, to display the current item at the top on the gallery, to also have a field on the form only to display on the edit view, not on the new form, and working through the different navigations and things like that. So that's pretty much what I prepared for now.
በጣም ብዙ ነገር ነው ታች ያደረግነው። ቫሪያብል አልቀረንም፣ ናቪጌሽን አልቀረንም። ምን ታች ያላረግሽው በጣም ትልቅ ኮንሰፕት ነው። ይሄን ባንዴ አላቀርበውም፣ ቃል ይገባልሻለሁ። እንደዚህ 1 ሰዓት ሙሉ እንዲያዳምጡ ሳይሆን በተለያየ ሳምንት አድርጌ ቆራርጬ ነው የማቀርበው፣ እንዳይሰለቻቸውም ጭምር ማለት ነው።
ያ
እና በጣም ትልቅ ነገር ነው። ምናልባት ድሉን አንዴ አግኝተሻል እዚህ መተሻልና እንዲሁ የምትመክሪያቸው ሰው አንዳንድ ጊዜ በጣም አይቲ እንደምታውቂው በጣም ሰፊ ኮንሰፕት ነውና ሰው ሁሉን ነገር አውቄ ሲጨርስ ማርኬት ላይ ወጣለሁ በሚል ብዙ ሰው ፍርሃት ውስጥ ነውና እስኪ ከፍርሃት እንዴት ይውጡ እስኪ ትንሽ ቃል ማለት ከቻልሽ ሶሪ አቆየውሽ።
No, not at all. So እኔ ብዙ a lot of people contact me አይደለ ከአሌክስ ጋር ሲጨርሱ somehow they find out about me እና contact ያደርጉኛል አይደለ እና እኔ my main advice አንዳንድ ሰው ምንድነው they feel like ክላሱን ጨርሰው they feel like they have to learn more, they have to study more, they feel like they have to literally know everything about SharePoint. That's not possible. እኔ ራሴ አሁን
not possible. Yeah, honestly.
It's not.
የሚቻል ነገር አይደለም.
It's not. It's just not. Literally, አንቺ ስንት ጊዜ ሆነሽ አሁን ስራ ላይ ሆነሽ?
3 ዓመት ሊሞላኝ ነው።
Okay, እኔ almost going to 5. እና I'm still learning. I'm still learning. Power up በማጥናት ነው ያወቁትኝ, YouTube videos ምናምን እና ምንድነው የምላቸው የአሌክስ ክላስ the way it's design ያደረገው is pretty much to give you all the tools that you need to be able to land a job and perform ከዛ በኋላ build ለማድረግ ነው እንጂ ሁሉ ነገር ልወካልሽ you're never going to be out on the market because it's just impossible. You're just going to be a professional student no የምትሆኚው instead of a professional worker. ስለዚህ just know that what you're getting in the class ታይምሽን ወስደሽ በደንበኛ dedicated ሆነሽ ካጠናሽ is enough for you to be out on the market ኢንተርቪው በደንበኛ ተዘጋጅተሽ ስራ ለማግኘትና ከዛ በኋላ on the job እየተማርሽ build ማድረግ. To this day there's so many requests that comes አሁን double duplicate ምናምን ሲመጣብኝ I don't know, I had to Google, I had to study, so IT was እስከሰራሽ ድረስ is a continuous
learning በቃ learning life ላይ እየተማርን እንሄዳለን እንጂ ተምረን በቃ ጨርሰን እንደዚህ የምናጠናቅቀው ነገር አይደለም ማለት ነው።
That's just maybe fortunate ልትዩ ትችያለሽ መማር ብትወጂ ከሆነ unfortunate ትችያለሽ ሁሌ መማር ማትፈልጊ ከሆነ ግን either way as long as you're going to be in the IT field it's just you have to continuously keep up with what's going on. So in summary ማለት የምፈልገው ምንድነው what you're getting in Alex's class is sufficient. It's more than enough for you to get out, get a job, and then build your career, And that's like the best advice I can give, because ብዙ ሰዎች they feel like they need to learn more. They feel like they have to learn more to get out on the market. And እንደዛ ከሆነ it's going to be very hard, because የባሰ ራስሽን confuse እያደረግሽ the more you try to study, the more you realize how much you don't know. Like because you just don't. ገባሽ? ያለሽን ኢንፎርሜሽን በደንበኛ ኦርጋናይዝ አድርገሽ በደንበኛ ጽንተሽ ለኢንተርቪው ተዘጋጅተሽ መውጣት። ከዛ በኋላ continue to learn on the job.
That's true. በጣም በትክክል ነው የተናገርሽው። ስለዚህ ላይክ አሁን የምንማረው ነገር አባይን በጨልፋ እንደማለት ነውና እሱን ጨልፈን ስንጨርስ ማርኬት ላይ እንወጣለን፣ አያስኬድም፣ አያልቅም። እና ደግሞ አሁን እኛ እየተዘጋጀን ለማርኬት ለመውጣት እየተዘጋጀን የምንማረውና ወይም የምንዘጋጀውና ገብተን ደግሞ የምንጠይቀው ኮምፕሊትሊ የተለየ ሊሆን ይችላል። ሪኳየርመንቱን አናውቀውም። ገና እዛ ገብተን ካላየን ምን ልንጠየቅ እንችላለን የሚለው ነገር እዚሁ ጨርሰን መግባት ፕራክቲካሊም አይደለም። እና ድፈሩ፣ ተነሱ፣ ተዘጋጁ። የምታውቋትን ነገር በደንብ አድምታችሁ በሷ ግቡ። ቀሪው ጊዜ ደግሞ እየተማራችሁም እየሰራችሁም እንደዚሁም እየተማማርን እየተረዳዳን እንቀጥላለን ማለት ነው።
Exactly. በቃ በደንበኛ ነው ሰምራይዝ ያደረግሽው። ያ
በጣም ነው የማመሰግንሽ መሮን። በጣም መቼም ደግመሽ ደግሞ እንደምትመጪ ተስፋ አደርጋለሁ። ይሄ አሁን እንግዲህ አስቡ፣ ይሄን መሮን ቁጭ ላይ ነው እያስተማርኩ ነው ማለት ነው። እንግዲህ ይሄን እውቀት ይዞ ሰው
I'm just like honestly እንዳልኩሽ behind the scene ነግሬሻለሁ. I'm very proud of you, because እኔ አሁን ለማዘጋጀት ራሱ took me some time። በደንበኛ ተዘጋጅተሽ ነው ማቅረብ ያለብሽ አይደለ? ስለዚህ the fact that you constantly taking your time to present information, I really admire that. But I'm Gobas, keep up the good work. Honestly, anytime you need me with advance notice, I have no problem sharing things that I'm learning on the job or about the ነገር,
Yeah, በጣም ነው የማመሰግንሽ። በአድማጮችም በዩቲዩብ ተከታዮችም ስማመሰግንሻለሁ። መልካም ጊዜ። Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Annie. No problem.
Bye-bye.
Bye.